The Osbournes have been Hollywood royalty for decades. Unlike the royal family, it hasn't stopped them voicing their opinions on them. Kelly took to a podcast recently to tell us exactly what she thought of Prince Harry.
I think Harry's a I do. I think he's he's a whining, whinging, complaining, woe is me, I'm the only one that's ever had mental problems. Like, my life was so hard. Everybody's life is hard.
Yeah,
you were the prince of a goddamn country who dressed up as a Nazi, and now you're trying to come back as the Pope? Suck it. No.
Do you know what? I couldn't have put it quite like that, but I definitely share the sentiment. Sharon, when you heard Kelly
I
there...
certainly have a way with words.
Well, Sharon, you've been slightly more polite about them whilst making the same point.
It was all very distasteful, Piers. I was totally bored by the whining. And, you know, the curtsy, the thing she said about medieval times, her lunch with the Queen was like medieval times, which, as you know, is a Disney-type entertainment place for kids. And it's just so horribly disrespectful and just a wine fest.
So here we are. It's quite interesting what's happened to them, isn't it? Because I lost my job because of Meghan Markle over that Oprah interview. You, Sharon, then disgracefully lost yours on the talk because you basically said I was entitled to my opinion. Where are they now, these two? Because it seems to me that people have basically just got bored of them, which is the most lethal thing of all for any public figures.
Who's going to go first?
I'll go first. I just think the proof is in the pudding, in the sense you've been handed the world and every major contract, you had podcasts, you have all of this, and you didn't deliver because you...
There's nothing to deliver.
Yeah, because you don't have it. And that's okay. And I think they do have a right to privacy, but that doesn't seem to me what they're looking for.
And Ozzy, let me ask Ozzy, actually, about Sharon getting fired from the talk. Because I felt so angry about that Sharon would be forced out of a job that she was brilliant. Because she was the star of that show. What did you make of it?
I always said it was a setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
they were looking for an excuse to get her out.
Well, yeah, and it was the time when, like, what better excuse to kick someone off a show than, you know, start making wild allegations of like racism, and it was like the fad of the moment to just, you know, burn someone down just to, you know, wave the woke flag, and it was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was completely outrageous, actually. I mean, Ozzy, to hear people call Sharon a racist, knowing her as well as you do, how did you feel about that?
When I first heard that she got she's leaving the show, I said, well, Cheryl will stick up for her. She knows she's not a racist friend. And it was Cheryl that threw her under the bus.
She did. Yeah. She never
and
said a word
I think
in
that's
defense.
the thing that was... No, and that was the thing that was so disappointing. It's like, you know, all these people that had worked with my mum for double-digit years, knew the whole family, knew everything. Not anyone came out and said, hey, actually, that's a pile of BS, and everyone just went with it because, for one, people couldn't defend my mum because if you do defend, everyone then jumps on you, and it was just nuts.
And you know, Sharon, the interesting thing, isn't it? If you go back to the start of it, I had to lose my job on Good Morning Britain here in the UK because I said I didn't believe a word Meghan Markle said. I wouldn't believe her if she wrote a weather report. Well, that's been completely vindicated by all the lies which have been exposed since, including stuff that was lied about in the Oprah interview. So actually, if you take that as the starting point, everything that followed was completely nuts.
it just insanity, and then it seemed, you know, that everybody was parted. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Oh, I'm for them, I'm against them. And it's like, you know, they were given far too much importance because what do they do?
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, all
Harry's
they do,
done
actually.
wonderful things with the games. He has done an amazing job
Yeah,
with
the Invictus
games.
Games is a very
That
good
is
thing. His service to his
incredible.
country was good, but the truth is, the only value they have to these corporations was to trash their families, all of them. And
That's
I just
it.
don't believe anyone
Well, I
can.
mean, just
I mean, you guys are such an extraordinarily strong family unit through thick and thin. You always have been. It's one of the things I love about you most. When you see people who basically disown their entire families on both sides and then pretend they're happy, I don't see how people can be happy when they do that.
No.
no. And the thing is, I've said this so many times, Piers. They're fine, but their children don't have any family.
Yeah.
No grandparents, no aunts, no uncles, no cousins. There's nothing.
Nothing.
Their babies have their mum and dad, and that is what is so terribly sad.
Yeah.
And they know nothing of their heritage.